Welcome back to another video. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Mia so quick with the uploads. Intro's over. Subscribe before you go. Welcome back. I'm Mia So Quick, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing some Halloween themed nails. So I'm going in with these Makartt tips that I love to use in the coffin shape. Coffin, perfect for Halloween. And I go ahead and I place some sticky tabs on these little nail stands, and I put that on there. Then I go ahead and get a buffing block to buff away the shine, and just a nail file to file off the tip of the nail. Now after that, the nails will be a little bit dusty, so I don't want any of that dust to get in the polish. So I go ahead and grab some alcohol little pads, and I just wipe them on the nail, and then I wait for them to dry, and then I'm ready for the next step. So once again, I'm going to go in with my Beetles gel polish. I love these polishes. You can find them on Amazon. They're really cheap. They're really affordable and really opaque. So for one of these nails, I'm just going to go in with 325. It's just a white, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply that. I'm going to do 2 coats and put it under the UV lamp for about a good minute and a half. Once that's all done, I'm taking 344, which is a black, and then I'm going to take my striping brush, and I am going to do some vertical stripes because I decided that I wanted to do a Beetlejuice theme. Don't know how many 90s kids are out there and can remember the movie Beetlejuice, or actually the animated cartoon, but that is the theme I'm gonna go with as far as Halloween. So Beetlejuice wore a striped vertical black and white, you know, like an old school prison looking uniform, but that is what I'm gonna do for this nail. And I was glad I found my long striping brush because it made making the straight lines a lot easier. Okay, for this next nail, I couldn't find the right deep purple that I wanted to use, so I'm going to use a combination of this dark blue as well as this lighter kind of purple, and then just mix them in to get this deep bluish purple that you'll see here. In the actual movie, there's a lot of greens and purples and black and white, so I'm just going to play with that color theme. So for this next nail, you'll see that I'll grab this neon green, and I'm just going to paint the nail all one tone. For all of these nails, I'm doing 2 coats, and I'm putting it under the lamp after each coat. So back to this purple nail, I decided I wanted to kind of do the sandworm's body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some white, and I'm just going to take a little brush and kind of like make an S curve that would kind of show like a worm's body. Then I'll go ahead and put that under the lamp, and then I'll start to actually do some more of the art with it. And by all means, let me know in the comments if you've ever seen Beetlejuice before. Alright, if you've ever seen the old movie with Winona Ryder. I think I watched that movie so many times. Alright, let me know in the comments if you've ever seen Beetlejuice, because apparently the new generation thinks it's some dude out there with messed up grill. But if you know the real Beetlejuice, let me know in the comments. Okay, so my next step is going to be to go ahead and make this striped worm. The worm might have been black or white, or it actually might have been some different versions of purple. Just depends on if you looked at the animated version or the movie. So for this, I'm going to go on with this black and white, and I'm just going to go ahead and make little stripes down this white, and I put that under the lamp, and then I come back and do a second coat over with the black as well, just to make sure that it's really opaque. I was happy with that, but then I realized I wanted it to stand out just a little bit more. So I went in with my striping brush, and I got some black, and then I just outlined this whole body shape. So I had to have a really steady hand, so I grabbed a smaller striping brush that I could really control a lot easier. And then you'll just see me going ahead and outlining this S-curve shape that I made. After it was all done, you can go ahead and see how that looks, and I think it just helped it just to stand out. Alright, so now it's for the fun part. Beetlejuice in the cartoon has kind of a purplish tint, so I mixed in this lavender with some white and a very, very baby pink, and then I'm just going to go ahead and start sketching in his actual head. So I'm using a small thin striping brush, and then I'm just going to try to do the general shape, starting at his neck and moving all the way up around his head, and then filling it in with the same color. Once you get this part down, the rest of it really starts to kind of come together. So if you've never done nail art, I mean, take a stab at it. I didn't even think I could do any of this, but every time I seem to surprise myself. So just go ahead and take a stab at it and see how well you might actually do with it. Okay, so now that we've got the basic shape, I'm gonna go ahead and get that black polish that I used before and then a small striping brush, and I'm gonna start to outline the shape of his head. This just helps me to make sure that I'm not losing track of the dimensions of like where the eyes will go and the hair and things like that. So I'll go back and forth in with the black a lot of times because I'll do something, I'll cover it up with another color. A lot of times I'll have to go back in, but this just helps me kind of organize and make sure that I'm not leaving anything out. So now that I've got the outside all sketched out, I'm going to start going in with the same black and start sketching in some of the details inside of his face. So from his eyes to his smile and even his eyebrows. And I'll do all of that with black, and then I'll let that cure, and you could just flash cure it for just like, 15 to 30 seconds, and then continue on with the rest of the details and using more colors. I would say if you are not super confident in your skills doing nail art, then you can always, when you get a line down and you like it, you can always cure it. And also just keep a brush with some acetone nearby or some nail polish remover, because if you don't like something, simply just rub it away, right? If you haven't cured it yet, you can always just take some acetone and wipe it off. But I would suggest that once you get something down that you like, cure it so then you don't have to worry about messing it up later. Alright, I honestly didn't have to do that this time because the more I'm doing this, the better I feel like I'm confident in just knowing that when I put a line down, I like it. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and do the details on his teeth, okay? He has some rotten green teeth, so I'm just picking up that same neon green that I used earlier, and I'm just going to kind of sketch out the shape of his teeth. It's okay if they're not perfect squares because you can always go back in later with the black and square it off with finer details. Once I got the teeth, I'm going to go in and start to actually sketch out areas of his mouth and his tongue. He has a purple tongue and then purple kind of like eye sockets, if you would think of kind of like almost a zombie, because Beetlejuice himself is dead but living. So yes, he has kind of like dark eye sockets. So I just went in and made a deep purple, and you'll see me going in ahead and doing the details there on his tongue as well as his eyes. Next, I'm going to go in with this yellow, this 337, and this yellow is going to be used for his eyes, as well as later on I'm going to use the same color for his hair. But for his eyes, just to make it simple, I grabbed a tiny little dotting tool and then I just dotted directly into his eyes and I let that cure. Now you can see me going back in and just doing some more details with the purple to kind of finish off the eyes and cover up any areas where the yellow might have spilled. So yes, as I said, once you cure it, you can always just go back in and fix up some details. Alright, now I'm going to go in with this black and I am going to finish off the details of his face, darken the inside of his mouth, give him some eyebrows, as well as begin to sketch out the hair as well. So once I'm good with all those details, once again, I go ahead and let that cure. And then I grabbed the yellow and I started to just go ahead and paint the perimeter of his hair. It's okay if it's not perfect, because as I said, you're going to go back in with the black and then you can just sketch out the details and the little wisps so you can kind of show the direction that the hair is actually moving. But I just did this with the fine little striping brush as well, and as you can see here, this is what it looks like. Once you got that and you let that cure, you'll want to go in, like I said, with your black and then just start to actually outline the shape of his actual hair. Now that I'm satisfied with that, you can see that for the most part his whole face is done, but I didn't want to leave the rest of the nail clear, so I decided that I wanted to go in and do his body. And for this I grabbed like a magenta, I mixed in kind of a dark red and a deep pink, and I went ahead and just painted . So once I went ahead with this color 329 and I painted his whole upper body, I then went in with black and I outlined the shape of his suit. And once I got the shape of his suit and his tie down, I went ahead and added some little striping details because he also wears a striped suit, as I mentioned before. And I just did that with white, and I think it turned out really, really well. And the final step, which I did not show, was I actually added a greenish colored background behind his hair just to make sure that that would pop, so that there would actually be no clear showing through. Alright, and now that I got Beetlejuice done, now I'm going to move on to Lydia Deetz. Alright, so Lydia was the teenager, I believe she was definitely a teenager, in the show who was friends with Beetlejuice, even though they probably had some weird inappropriate relationship. But for her, I'm going to go in with white and just the itty bitty tiny dab of brown, because Lydia is super pale. She looks dead even though she's alive. And once again, I'm just going to go ahead and shape out her head, as well as starting from the neck and then just kind of carrying it up and then filling it in with my striping brush. So you'll see, just like I did with Beetlejuice, I'm pretty much following the same steps. Once I've got the face down, I'm going to go in with my black gel polish and my striping brush, and I'm going to outline the whole shape of Lydia's head. Even if some of these parts are going to get cut off, it's okay, because like I said, you can just polish over it. But I do that, I let that cure, and then I come in and I actually do her facial details with this same black gel polish. Now, this video is sped up, but this honestly took a while. So I'm a perfectionist, But if you're out there and you're struggling because you're looking at a video that's, I don't know, this video is probably long for me, a 20-minute video, and saying like, oh God, I could never do that. These honestly took me a very long time just to get all of those fine details in. So if you're planning on doing this, just know that you want to make sure that you set some time away. If you're ever going to do nail art on a client, definitely take the time to practice so you know how long about a certain look will actually take you, or how many nails that you're actually going to do that for, because it definitely is time consuming if you're going to be doing nail art similar to this. Okay, so at this point I'm just finishing off details of her hair that's going to cover up that gigantic forehead that I created. I let that cure, and then I'm going to go in and start doing some of these colors. You'll see that I did red on her lips, and she has kind of like a purple nose. I use white to fill in her humongous eyes, and then I grab a dotting tool with some black to go ahead and blacken her actual eyeballs. Once I've done that, I can go in and do some more details as far as with the purple. She also has like purple eye makeup, so I go in with her purple eye makeup and I go ahead and do those details, as well as her ponytail holder. She wears a very high ponytail, and that is also going to be with this purple. So once I was done with her face, there's some things I didn't show. I just went ahead and did that whole bottom red because Lydia wears like a giant red cape that has some spider webbing design on it. So as you can see here is the red that I've already done, and I've finished off her hair. And then I just go in with a striping brush and try to create the spider web pattern, which is super easy. You just want to make some vertical stripes, and then you make little, I don't know, like sideways, upside down C's. I don't know, maybe that's a U, like a smile in between each of the vertical lines, and it will look like a spider web. It's super easy to do though. And that is what she looks like. So at this point, here are what all of my nails look like. And if you're counting, you're probably looking at those clear ones saying, what is she going to do with those? Well, I have some fun things to do with those middle fingers, okay? That'll really, I don't know, capture the spirit of Halloween, okay? So for regular nails, here you go. Now for the super fun part for those people who are still with me, and if you are still with me, go ahead and leave me like a scary emoji, like I don't know, a Halloween emoji. Give me like a ghost or a pumpkin if you're still here and you're still watching this video. Okay, so for this nail, I'm gonna grab my Mia Secret Cover Beige acrylic powder, and I'm literally just gonna start piling this on thick onto this nail. Okay, so for this nail, I am gonna do the characters. I cannot remember their name, but if you will remember and you watched Beetlejuice, there was this married couple. They were like middle-aged married couple, and they had a human appearance, but they also had a monster-like appearance to where they literally turned into monsters. And one of those monsters' heads turned into like some crocodile head where their eyes were in their mouth right on top of their tongue. So that's what I was going for with this. So I'm using this beige, and like I said, I'm just going to start piling it on thick, and you guys will see what this is going to transform into, okay? So once I've got that, now I'm ready to go in with my red apple Mia Secret acrylic powder. And even though I don't like these for my regular nails, I think it'll be fine trying to do some nail art with it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use that red to start molding the tongue. that will sit inside this mouth. Yes, this is a mouth. I know it doesn't look like it right now, but it's gonna come together. I promise you, it's gonna come together. Okay, so once I've got the tongue down, I'm gonna go ahead and with this Cover Pink acrylic, I'm gonna go ahead and do the gums. So I'm gonna do like a gum line right around the tongue. Really, as you can see, I'm trying to be super detailed. So I'm gonna go all the way around the tongue doing this pink for the gums. Okay, and as you can see, it's starting to look like something at this point. All right, so after that, I'm going in with this black acrylic powder, and I'm just dotting that like right at like, so that's kind of like the back of the throat where you can't really see down there. All right, so I use that for the back of the throat, and then I'm gonna take my clear acrylic powder. All of this is Mia's secret. I'm gonna do clear acrylic powder, and I'm going to add teeth. Little dots of acrylic powder. I'm going to add teeth on top of the gums, and I'm also going to add eyeballs on top of the little black part at the back of this throat at the end of the tongue. So as you guys can see how this is looking, and also if you have white, I would have used white acrylic powder to do the eyeballs and to do the teeth, but I don't. So for these reasons, after I get the acrylic to set and dry, all I'm gonna do is just honestly grab some gel polish and then just get a small little brush and paint over the teeth and paint over the eyeballs, and then dot the eyeballs with a blue color just to show the actual color of the eyes. Now that I like the inside of the mouth, I'm just going to continue to keep stacking this Cover Beige on top so that it'll look like the top of the mouth will be closing down. So it'll look like kind of like a crocodile's open mouth. So once it's all been extended out, you can see what it looks like. And I actually wound up using a dual form. I just kind of stuck it in there and then kind of threw the acrylic over it and let it set, and then you can see that I pinched it away, and because it looks like too shiny of a nail, I went back and then I just slapped on some more acrylic over it, because this does not need to look shapely. Like, it should look pretty gross and pretty wrinkly, because that's kind of how they looked like as monsters. So in the end, these are what my nails look like, okay? I don't know if y'all can see that one in the back. Okay, I was struggling on that one and I gave up, and that's the best that I came up with, but it looks scary enough to me. But I love how these turned out, guys. Go ahead and let me know what you guys think. And these are all wearable nails. I can put, even these ugly things will actually fit on my actual fingers. So please go ahead and leave me a comment. Let me know if there's some other ideas you got for what I should try, or anything else that you guys would like to see, especially for these Halloween themes, okay? Feel free to go ahead and hit subscribe and leave a like, and follow me on Instagram at MiaSoQuick, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.